Okay, so Friday, a couple days, 3 days before Christmas, I thought I was all done with the videos, but this one yesterday on the four immeasurables by Lord Buddha, I call it a miracle, call it a God moment, God speaking, God moving things around, whatever your preference. Something really interesting happened yesterday, and I just thought I'd tell it as a story. I've had these, I've mentioned it in earlier videos too, where something occurs and you go, I know people thought I had something to do with it, but I just don't see how it played out that way. And that's what happened with this one. I'm going to call this one the Four Immeasurables Part 2. In fact, let me just put the four immeasurables up again. Whoops. Yeah. In fact, here it is again. This is what was important. And this was from a Buddhist website where it says, all life is interdependent. Therefore, the happiness of one individual depends upon that of others. Very powerful. But the next part I had missed. And I find it absolutely incredible that before I did this video yesterday on the four immeasurables, I found this website on my first try, this quote on my first try, and I actually misread it and I recognized the importance of it when I did the video, but afterwards, and right near the end, I said, is there anything more important than this? And it kept percolating afterwards. And now I look at it, and I reread this yesterday and thought, how in the world was this given to me? How sometimes things happen and you just go, how did this happen? How did this happen? It's exactly what I needed. Yeah. So here it is. The Buddha taught the four immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. But this is what was important. He says the Buddha taught the four immeasurables in order to remove ill will, cruelty, jealousy, clinging, and aversion. I just think that's it. I meditate on these points all the time. They just percolated up and I meditated on them, but I never really saw how important it was and how this is the gift from Buddha right there. I'm still just astounded. In order to remove ill will, cruelty, jealousy, clinging, and aversion. All of the religions, and you look into Hinduism, Buddhism, they talk about clinging. I see that as craving. Aversion is pushing away, and that's the yin yang. Yeah. Jealousy, envy, ill will. Anyway, the point I wanted to make up is what a beautiful path, so clearly defined, when you look at these four immeasurables and how wonderful it is to meditate on these points. And there he is defining love in Buddhism is wanting others to be happy. Just do it. Compassion is wanting others to be free from suffering. Just meditate on it. Sympathetic joy, wanting others to have freedom, to become Buddhas themselves, to have success and have no envy, no ill will about it. No ill will on the number 2, the compassion. This is just all so incredibly powerful and such an easy, beautiful path. And I think the statement is giving it short shrift, meaning you don't give it the emphasis and the value. So yesterday I was kind of thinking about things and meditating on things, And I've had other people say they're just constantly asking questions, trying to find an answer. Well, you can't have an answer more basic than this. Just do this and see what happens. In order to remove ill will, cruelty, jealousy, clinging, and aversion. And I believe in all my readings that if these are removed, that these, boy, I don't want to get into how Shankara describes the 5 coverings of who you really are, but this is surely a step to removing coverings, to removing those barriers. And you know, none of us like this in ourselves. None of us like it when we get judgmental. None of us like it when we're critical. We know how to police ourselves. And this is really back to many paths, same God. It's also to the great statement, which I want to get into right now, is that these truths are all the same. There's just different words to describe it. I believe it's very clear. These things are very clear in the Sermon on the Mount by Lord Jesus. Shankara describes how you live in what's called sattva, the energy of sattva, harmony, love, caringness, and that will eventually take away, get rid of the lower energy flows, the ego energy flows, the I'm right, you're wrong flows, and the real solid, hateful flows. So again, live in sattva, live in love, live in... You see how it's all the same, whether it's Lord Ramakrishna, Lord Jesus, Lord Buddha, same path. And I would bet money all the religions are that way. And so these very fundamental statements, many paths, same God, many different words, same truth. I thought about it all night. It was just the sheer beauty of the 4 immeasurables, the sheer beauty of my earlier tapes on bhakti love. That's the path. And so you see, if we do all of these, but it's all the same. Love is the answer. All we need is love, love, as per the other tape. But there's another thing that happened as I'm meditating on this just yesterday, is that if you're meditating on the bigger picture and love and really wanting others to get better, to have joy, and therefore you'll have joy, what happens is you quit flowing to yourself and you start flowing out. Your love starts to flow out. Your caringness starts flowing out. And ultimately, that's what we also hear in all the religions, and that is take your attention off self and serve others, help others, care for others. It's all the same. Many different paths, many different words, but it's all the same. We're trying to let go of the little s self and see the big S self, whatever words you want to use for that. I've brought it up before, and I remember reading Ramakrishna, and he said, God is Sat Chit Ananda, infinite knowledge, infinite love, infinite bliss. It's all the same stuff. It's just a wonder. And I marvel at how the 4 immeasurables came up almost before I did the video. Now, I read them many years ago, but I didn't realize the impact. And then I found those definitions. But I didn't even... They were... How do I say this? They were given to me. Jim, you're crazy, whatever. Yeah, you're living in La La Land. But they were given to me. And I watched the video again in a way to kind of edit it, or just... I learned something when I watch the video, as if I'm being talked to by somebody else. It's kind of interesting. And at the end, I noticed, wow, look at that. It is much more powerful than I recognized. And then it was a continuous flow through the night and my meditation this morning, and I just wanted to emphasize that. So it's just the 4 immeasurables part 2. I guess I could even title it A God Moment When God Talks. Yeah, take your pick on that one. But this is a quickie. It's just a follow-up. Great stuff.